I'm Summer Morris, CPA, ex-corporate accounting girl and health coach turned CEO of a multi-six-figure business while helping others build financial security, healthier habits, and a better quality of life. It wasn't that long ago I lacked the confidence, the right plan, and time to focus on growing my small but mighty business, while also having time for healthy activities I wanted to pursue away from my desk. Fast forward past many failures and lessons learned, and you'll see the healthier business and lifestyle I have today. One that changes lives while giving me more freedom than I ever thought possible. I created the Fit to Endure podcast to share simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. So if you're looking to feel better, live a healthier life without blowing your budget, start a side hustle, or train for your next race, this show will help you make an impact and achieve your goals without creating the overwhelm and burnout that makes you want to quit. You ready? Let's get started. Hey guys, have you ever found yourself overeating to the point of needing to unbutton your pants or take a nap? No fun, right? Maybe you find yourself binging on crappy foods because you suddenly realize you were starving, or that crappy convenient food was all that was available in the moment. I know most of us generally wait until we're too hungry to make good eating decisions. We find ourselves becoming hangry or short-tempered, or we eat far too much for our energetic output. Or maybe we weren't physically hungry at all, like we were feeling sad or bored or anxious. Distracting with some sweet or salty food is a familiar way we cope and distract from the day. Well, my friends, welcome to the Fit to Endure podcast, and I'm glad you joined me on this special episode. Today, we're talking about honoring hunger and fullness. It's a topic I teach in my health and weight reset program that gets a lot of positive feedback, and I thought it'd be fun to share it with you today. Honoring hunger and fullness is when we listen to our body's natural hunger signals to tell us when it's time to look for food or prepare for food, way before those hangry, the hungry plus angry signals take over our bodies and minds and just make us a pain to be around. Honoring fullness is when we actually stop eating, again, based on our body's signals before we feel stuffed. So how did I end up talking to you today about honoring hunger and fullness? Well, the short answer is trial and error. When I was a kid, I keep sweet snacks with me as often as I could. When I didn't have candy readily available, my sweet tooth and imagination would help me craft my own. I remember going in the kitchen and taking our avocado green plastic measuring cup and filling with Skippy peanut butter from that 5-pound tub at Costco and chocolate chips, then microwaving it so I could stir it smooth. I'd hide this measuring cup underneath my bed for an hour to cool, then devour it. Looking back, it was probably more like 5 minutes of cooling time, but it felt like hours for that process to happen. The funny thing is that I usually wasn't hungry anyway. Later in high school, I worked at a take-and-bake pizza shop where we made homemade chocolate chip cookie dough in this huge mixer that just smelled amazing. And I got to purchase that cookie dough for half off. I thought it was the best job ever. Pizza and cookies? Yum! And I'd take a tub of that cookie dough home with me more often than I want to say. I'd bake it into a plate of cookies and eat more than I want to recall, especially when I was feeling sad or lonely, maybe a boyfriend breakup, that sort of thing, whatever uneasy sensation I wanted to avoid. By the time I reached 20, I was 15 pounds heavier than I was just a few years earlier. And no, it was not muscle. I was shocked and embarrassed and saddened too. But the scale wasn't lying to me about what my weight was or how I got to this point. I remember the day I saw the number on the scale at the gym. I'd been out of the gym for a few weeks healing a foot injury. And while anchored to the sofa, my dad would stop by and gift me sweet snacks like Twinkies, peanut butter bars, moon pies. It was his way of showing love. And looking back, my grandma used to give me so many lovely sweet treats that I'm guessing my dad's way of showing love was how he received love as well. Fun. Because of the added weight, I did not fit well in my clothes. So I stopped going out with friends and instead would sulk at home in my baggy pants, watching sad movies about impossible love until my face was blotchy with tears. Then I'd walk in the kitchen to find any sweet snack that could help me feel better. Then another snack and another until my stomach hurt and felt bloated like a balloon. I can remember way too many episodes of bowl of cereal after bowl of cereal after bowl of cereal. I didn't need 3 bowls of cereal, but I just felt like somehow that bowl of cereal was going to help me feel better, at least in that moment. I looked down at my expanded belly and fluffy hips and wondered who could possibly love me like this. Instead of that beaming smile, radiant complexion, and creative spark I used to feel, I looked dull, lackluster, moody, tired. I felt like garbage most of the time. How did this happen? This was definitely not the best life ever. And I knew something had to change. And my various diet attempts, from Slim Fast shakes to Atkins, things I learned from family members and their failed attempts at weight loss, were not keeping me in balance. I read books about stopping the insanity, juicing, vegan weight loss plans, meat-only weight loss plans. It was so confusing. I knew there had to be a better, more sustainable way of getting healthy, both in mind and body. So I studied how to become a certified health coach and nutrition expert, and later layered in yoga and mindfulness teacher trainings. That's when I discovered this thing that changed everything. And at first I was skeptical, like this approach will never work for me. But then I followed through in a way I never have before. Within weeks, pounds melted off my body, and I was dropping dress sizes. I bounced energetically out of bed every morning. I had more clarity than I had in years, and I got my sexy back. Most importantly, I began to love my body. The negative self-talk was going away. No more missing out on fun times with friends or avoiding pictures because I felt fat and uncomfortable. Beyond the weight loss, I no longer experienced midday belly bloat, poor sleep, or endless sugar cravings. I started getting lots of compliments too. People said I looked amazing, like I'd completely transformed. What was I doing? They all wanted to know. One coworker said, I start eating and I can't stop. Another girlfriend said, I just have to have something sweet after a meal or it doesn't feel complete. That's when I developed a system called the Health and Weight Reset to teach people how to kick the sugar habit without giving up sweetness while overcoming other unhealthy side effects that come from eating foods our bodies are not happy with. At first, it was a group of 3 friends, then it expanded to 10. In the past several years, dozens of people have successfully kicked sugar and had higher levels of energy without the artificial caffeine boost and overcame symptoms of unhealth. They experienced a total transformation without feeling deprived or like the results were temporary. Now it's my goal to help you connect the dots and show you how you can do this too, no matter how far you've fallen off track. And today, my friends, we are talking about how to stop feeling hangry and overeating by honoring hunger and fullness. Honoring hunger and fullness involves some lessons and self-coach trainings that I've shared in prior podcast episodes. I'll link to all of these in the show notes and also include them in the downloadable bonus handout that goes with today's episode. You can find the handout at summermorris.com/13. That's summermorris.com/ and the number 13. The prior episodes that marry well with this episode on honoring hunger and fullness are episode number 2, Know Your Purpose in 45 minutes or less. That'll help you know your why and your purpose. Episode number 5, Setting Healthy Boundaries, an excellent one when you find yourself with someone who keeps offering you food and you're not hungry, but you don't want to upset them or hurt their feelings. Episode number 4, How to Get Out of Your Own Way, to overcome episodes of self-sabotage and get you back on track if you lose focus, as well as episode number 8, Overcoming Setbacks in DNF. And lastly, last week's episode number 12, Food and Money, What Are You Really Hungry For? That's a great one when you find yourself eating for some reason other than hungry. Now, honoring hunger and fullness involves also listening to the subtle hunger signals in your body. To do this, I recommend yoga and meditation classes. Before I share how to honor hunger and fullness, let's take a brief commercial break from my Health and Weight Reset program, where you can dive even deeper into this transformational tool. When dieting, stress, and feelings of being tired become unmanageable, try evidence-based tools to tackle weight loss, feelings of overwhelm, and fatigue in a healthier way with the Health and Weight Reset. This ebook includes a simple done-for-you eating, sleep, and stress management plan that works around your busy schedule plus evidence-based tools, support, and accountability. You'll also get access to our membership portal for daily videos, bonus handouts, customized shopping lists, and the Ask Summer button for personalized feedback and more. Now, this program is not about counting calories or portion control. It's not about buying special potions or packaged foods. And if you're thinking, what do I get to eat? Don't worry, I got your back. You're going to find a delicious plant-powered menu in this program. And so often we know what we should be doing or should be eating, but we're not. Why? Maybe because we woke up again tired, or we were offered our favorite treats from those we love and we're not hungry and we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we find ourselves eating when we're stressed, lonely, or bored. Let's get rid of that. This reset is about learning how to sleep better, how to have more energy, and how to discover what's causing your bloating, fatigue, and inflammation so that you can overcome it and continue feeling better long after this program has ended. Learn what works for your unique body and finally reclaim your energy at summermorris.com/reset. That's summermorris.com/RESET. Welcome back. Okay, so when I teach honoring hunger and fullness in the Health and Weight Reset program, I use 2 barometers. Think of like the temperature barometer where the higher the temperature, the red line goes higher and higher and higher. Okay, so there's a hunger barometer and a fullness barometer. And I'll link a picture of these in the downloadable handout for summermorris.com/13 so that you can have that visual. So on the hunger barometer for the hunger scale, it goes from a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 is when we're just starting to notice a level of hunger in our bodies. And 10 is when we're starving, just famished. You know, that hangry is fully charged. And so with the hunger scale, on that level 1 is when we start to notice hunger. And on level 2 is when we plan for food. So planning for food could be looking in the fridge. It could be, okay, are we going to go get a bite to eat? It's where we're going to start planning that number 2. Yes. So there's the level 1 for noticing hunger, level 2 for planning for food. And then compared to level 10, which is starving, famished, you're just grabbing anything. And so with the level 2 of planning for food, what I often find is that folks will wait far past level 2 out of 10 before they start planning for food. I used to do this many, many times in the past. Have you ever experienced where you come home from work, let's say, and you're hungry, but you need to cook your dinner? So as you're cooking your dinner on your stovetop or whatever, you're filling your belly with different snacks, just whatever is available. You're just shoving it in your mouth because I'm hungry now and the food won't be ready for, say, 20, 30, 40 minutes. And by the time your dinner is prepared, you feel like, well, I have to eat this now already, even though I already filled up on those snacks. So now you're eating when you're not even hungry and you're stuffed. So it's like, okay, I just came home from work. I was so hungry, I ate anything. And now by the time dinner's ready, I'm not hungry anymore and I'm eating it out of feeling guilt or obligation. Well, it's here. I cooked it. And now you find yourself so full. It's like, the opposite end of discomfort. So we don't want to get there. We don't want to do that level 5 or 6. You know, when we're so hungry, we're just eating anything before we get to that hangry part. We want to look for that level 2. So in the fullness scale, we have the scale of 1 to 10. Level 1 on the fullness scale is starving. Level 7 on the scale is eating for energy. And level 10 is stuffed. So again, the fullness scale has a level 1 of starving. Level 7, way up on level 7, is eating for energy. And then level 10 is stuffed. And so when we start with that hunger scale of like, okay, on level 1, we're noticing food. Level 2, we're planning for food, going through the process, whatever planning for food means to you, where they're okay, we're going to take off and go get a bite to eat. We're going to start preparing the food or looking for whatever it is we're going to do. And as we start eating, when we start at maybe that level 1 or 2 or 3 on the fullness scale, depending on how hungry we are, we want to eat to a level of 7, not go to the level of 10. Why? Well, there's a few reasons why. One of them is that it actually takes the body about 20 minutes for the stomach to tell the brain we've had enough. So if we're eating so fast, based on our hunger, that we could be eating to the point where we're stuffed before our brain has a chance to get the signal that we've had enough. Most of us generally wait until we're way too hungry to make good decisions or eat far too much for our energetic output. A reset that teaches us about the hunger scale and the fullness scale is an opportunity to recognize those habits and make changes that support you feeling nourished, energized, and alive. You can honor your hunger by prepping meals when you're mildly hungry versus starving. Honor your fullness by completing your meal when you're at a level 7 on the fullness scale of 1 to 10. What this means is eating to where you're energized, but you still have room in your belly. If you're feeling the compulsion to continue to eat beyond a 7, pause. Tell your body you will eat again later, that this meal or snack is complete. Have a cup of tea, or engage in another non-food oriented activity. And what I like to say in the reset is let's focus on progress, not perfection. Again, if you go through the process of trying the hunger scale and the fullness scale, and you still find yourself, oh, I got stuffed again, or oh, I'm eating when I'm not hungry, it's okay. Just notice what might have happened and let's course correct. And of course, you can always jump back to those podcast episodes I mentioned about overcoming self-sabotage. So to recap, when we look at honoring the hunger and fullness scales, we have the hunger scale, where the scale of 1 to 10, 1 is noticing hunger, and 2 is planning for food. That's the key ticket in the hunger scale, by the way. Don't wait so long that you're reaching that higher point near starving at level 10, that you're like, I'll just eat anything to get these hunger pains to go away and avoid those hangry sensations that make you not so fun to be around. And then on the fullness scale, to recap the fullness scale, the level 1 is starving, level 1 out of 10. We want to eat to a level of 7, eating for energy, so there's still some room in the belly, and try to avoid eating all the way to stuffed at level 10, okay? So hunger scale, number 1, noticing hunger, 2, planning for food, whereas way up at the 9, 10 is starving, and on the fullness scale, 1 is starving, 7, eating to 7 for eating for energy, and avoid getting to the top peak, level 10 for stuffed. Now, if you're like I used to be, where it's really hard to listen to the subtle hunger signals in the body because maybe you're so conditioned to dieting and just listening to other feedback, the calorie counter or whatever it is, not your physical body, I get it. And some of the tools that I found work for me is through yoga. I know I'm a yoga teacher, so you're like, of course you're going to push yoga. You love yoga. But what I found with yoga and meditation and journaling, of course, I love to push the journaling too. What I love about yoga and meditation is that it's truly about turning down the volume of all the stuff going on around you and tuning in instead to what's going on inside, which can feel pretty scary at times if you're used to running from your emotions and, oh, life feels hard, life feels anxious, I want to just run away and eat or drink or distract, whatever it is. I get it. But I find yoga and meditation are a great way to slowly, gently start to notice what's going on in the body. And as an added bonus in the downloadable handout at summermorris.com/13, I'll include a link to one of my recorded yoga classes and recorded guided meditations so that you can have some offerings there if you're unfamiliar with practicing yoga or having a seat with meditation, that I'll include some links for you there. And if you're one of the folks that say, oh, I don't like yoga, it's just too slow for me, or I hate meditation because I can't sit still, I get it. I've been there too. I promise it's one of those, the more you practice, the slightly easier it gets, but I will have those bonus yoga and meditation links for you if you're interested. Here's some tips and tools you can use when you're thinking of the hunger scale and planning for food, that level 2. Have snacks with you. Have snacks in the car, the gym bag, the backpack, the briefcase, your workspace, like your desk drawer. So snacks that I like to have in my car, such as in the glove box, are peanut butter Cliff Bars. Those are especially good on warm days. It comes like a warm peanut butter cookie. I just try to avoid those snacks that have chocolate chips. I know chocolate chips can be delicious, but when they melt in your car and so you open up the bag and then you have chocolate on your hands, no fun. See, I look for those non-melting snacks, the bars like the Cliff Bars, little snack bags of raw nuts are great, trail mix that doesn't have chocolate chips or the M&M chocolatey things. Some snacks I like to have in my backpack or briefcase are similar ones. In my workspace, I usually find at work that there's one of those coffee makers that have the hot water spout. And so in the workspace, I like to have the little instant cups of oatmeal, or Dr. McDougall, who has a plant-based food plan, but he has lots of instant cup soups that I used to love. It would be, black bean soup or pea soup. He'd have some different ramens. So lots of just those instant things where you can just pour water. And I know it's not your best meal ever, but it's a lot better than grabbing some candy bar out of the vending machine or just skipping it entirely. When it comes to traveling, I love to pack fresh fruit, some more maybe of those snack bars I mentioned that I keep in my glove box, some dried nuts or trail mix without the chocolate. And a fun tip I gave in a recent live health and weight reset was one of the participants, their job involves long multi-hour meetings at work. I mean, at least 2 hours, sometimes 3-hour meetings that just go so long. And so she'd find, okay, by the time the meetings end, she's so hungry, famished, she's eating anything. And so I said, well, why don't you bring some food into the meeting? And she's like, oh, I can't do that. I don't want to be the only one eating. So I recommended to her, what if you propose having a snack basket for these longer meetings? That way there's a basket of snack bars, there could be crackers, some of those non-melting trail mix, fresh fruit, apples, bananas, all that stuff. And so when we know a meeting is going to have 60, 90, or many more minutes than that, we can have this basket. She's like, okay, I'll offer it. And so what happened? She recommended the basket. The boss said yes. So she would curate the basket, which was fun because she also got to incorporate some of the foods that were her favorites. She would take the basket to the meeting, and she was not the only one snacking out of that basket. She found most of the people were grabbing snacks, which just verified that there were many more people that were hungry and ready to eat in these meetings than just her. So it was a win-win, not just for her, but for the other people in the meeting. Getting back to honoring hunger and fullness. Another tip, practicing self-compassion and grace. Now, this is going to be one of those processes, like many in our life, that we're not going to get perfect the first time. Imagine your first bike. It might have had training wheels on it. Why? Because we just need those guardrails for something that's new. So practicing progress, not perfection. If you go through the process and you find yourself, I'm hangry again, or I'm eating to the point of being stuffed, go back and just like we've done in prior episodes, those 3 questions, what worked, what didn't work, and what would I do differently? Then dust off your knees and let's get back at it. And when you find yourself wanting to eat and are not really hungry, a nice way to check is what a friend of mine called nice hungry. That's when you would go to the kitchen, maybe the refrigerator, the pantry, or in the break room, and there's some food you have for yourself that's the healthy food, good food for the body, and you're like, no, I don't want that. What I really want are chips or cookies or some other sweet treat. That's what my friend would call nice hungry. It's not that you're truly hungry for feeling the sensation of hunger in the body. It's something else. And if you're experiencing that something else, I invite you to go back and check out episode number 12. What am I really hungry for? Are you in need of quality sleep and instead trying to use food, sugar, or caffeine as a substitute or way of coping with your sleepiness and fatigue? I know I've sure done that in the past. And a good tip here is that if you know you didn't sleep so well, notice during the day if there's areas where you're like, I want to go for those M&Ms or whatever your special food is to get that extra boost of energy. And notice, am I really hungry or am I just trying to overcome that quality sleep? It could be as simple as taking a 10 or 20 minute nap using the alarm on your phone so you don't sleep too long, or really dialing in your schedule so you can get to sleep on time tonight. Well, my friends, thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Fit to Endure podcast, where we talked about honoring hunger and fullness, that delicate balance. And remember, every choice you make in honoring hunger and fullness is an opportunity for self-discovery and empowerment. If you enjoyed listening to today's episode, Please subscribe for more insightful discussions on personal growth, living with greater intention, and how to feel better in your body. And don't forget that downloadable handout at summermorris.com/13. Until next time, take care and namaste.